Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Berean. Today, we're going to take a look at what's going on in the gaming world with Nintendo as in regards to the new hit game on PC and Xbox, Palworld. Now, Nintendo is no stranger to suing people who have ripped off their properties, such as taking down ROM sites, people blatantly ripping off characters and storylines from their franchises over the years. They've also go back as far as like there's a legal battle between them and Atari back in I don't know, gosh, oh, before my time. That Donkey Kong was a ripoff of King Kong, which was kind of a funny thing to think about, but you know, it's interesting. And during my childhood, Nintendo fought legally, uh, put in a lot of money to sue Blockbuster, of all people, to stop video game rentals. I mean, they've done that to Blockbuster. They didn't really attack any of the others because they felt if they could take down Blockbuster, the rest would follow suit to shut down video game rentals. This is because rentals cost the bottom line of sales, and that's just one of those things that they could never stop. Uh, a lot of creators have made their own mods and made their own things to modify the games that you play on Nintendo and through ROMs, and they've gone after them. They've even gone after uh, YouTube creators. They took down one creator's channel that was exclusively doing The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. No, was it Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild? Breath of the Wild, I think. Just content, and they took his channel down, but left others, and so that's always why I'm kind of like in previous videos. I'll show a little bit of Nintendo stuff because they're really, really, really fierce about slapping those DMCA's notices on lots of videos that contain their content. So you have to be very careful. Usually with a channel like mine, yeah, they're not going to bother. Why would they? So, but now let's turn to the actual article and say, what is Pokemon and Palworld have in common? Now, this is where the lawsuit would have its basis, and that is, are these characters in Palworld stolen from Pokemon intellectual property? Now, that's going to be hard to prove, especially uh, if they have to sue here, because the developer is an American developer. They'd have to sue in America because there's things as fair use that they have to get around, and they have to prove that so many things within the game are blatant ripoffs and has caused financial damage to the intellectual property or property owner's company to win in a legal lawsuit. And this is just me being the average person who understands some of these laws and some of the burden of proof and stuff like that. I'm not a legal expert by any means. But these are characters that are inspired. They may have similarities. I mean, how many games have we had that you capture monsters? I mean, Digimon, Yokai Watch, a couple others that are not uh, rip-offs, but are definitely inspired by the original Pokemon game, cards, and all the intellectual property in the Pokemon arena. So it's going to be a hard burden of proof, and they intend to investigate. Basically, what I think turns out is, hey, can we sue them for making people think this is somewhat Pokemon? Could we prove it? Could we win? Now, a lot of things can turn out about this. They sue the company that makes Palworld and the studio and all its investors for copyright infringement, which is going to be very hard to prove, like I said previously. But they can also be like, you have to pick a specific item or character that you have to defend is a blatant ripoff. I've watched several hours of gameplay by various people on YouTube and Kick, and I've got to say, the gameplay is nothing like Pokemon, even though it's Palworld is basically joked as Pokemon with guns. It really is a survival game, and you do collect monsters, and you do defeat monsters, and you can use monsters to do other things. But in the end, it's a world where you're trying to survive and using the creatures in that world to help you do so. Versus Pokemon, you're collecting monsters to battle against each other for prestige. Now, I think this is close enough to make them think we're going to take a look into it, and they're probably saying that just because they've been asked so much. But I think in the end, the worst they can do is maybe say, okay, fine, we won't take you to court, but you got to pay us so much in like a licensing fee, or you've got to, if you change these 3 monsters to look less like Pokemon, we'll call it even, and you have to promise not to make another game in this style using monsters that resemble our intellectual property. These are common mid-ground areas with lawsuits. I don't know which it's going to be. I hope it's none of them. I hope this is just their response. Hey, we're going to take legal. We're going to look into and investigate just because they've been asked. And Nintendo is notorious for not holding back when it comes to legal issues. They'll go after people. They'll go after individual creators and studios just to protect their brand. However, I think this is one of those things that there's going to be so much pushback that in the end it's going to make Nintendo look terrible for going after a company that made a game that looked similar to Pokemon. I mean, that's just how it is. I don't think they'll be doing anything about it. I think they'll kind of just put it out there. Yeah, we are aware. And kind of beat their chest to kind of ward off any other studios from doing the same thing again. So, that's my take on it. And I hope I'm right. And I hope there are people out there that love the game. I haven't played it yet. I plan on purchasing it this weekend and give it a couple hours of playthrough, and see if it lives up to what I've seen. So until next time, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.